Hello and welcome to another video. Today is a bit of an impromptu, mostly unplanned video. I'm going to talk to you about the Unravel Festival that's currently happening this weekend in Farnham, what I thought of it, what I bought, and was it worth it? Originally, I wasn't going to have any time to film a review of this event, but my weekend plans have shifted a little bit, and I thought I would take this opportunity to tell you about the event that I went to. So I went to Unravelled yesterday, which was Friday the 13th, which will actually be 2 days ago once this video comes out. It is a festival of yarn held in Farnham, which is running from Friday to Sunday. There is a host of stalls, they run talks and workshops, and generally it's just a great place for people who love yarn and yarn crafts. I thought this festival was bloody brilliant. This is the second Unravel festival that I've been to, but the first one that they host in February. The range of yarn and stalls are amazing. The talks are really informative and engaging. It brings a whole host of wonderful people sporting some great knitwear items. Even being on the train, like travelling down from London to Farnham, you could tell that the majority of the train was heading to the event. It was wonderful. I went with a friend this year, which really heightened my enjoyment as we talked through a lot of pattern options and helped each other decide what we were going to do with various bits of yarn, and it was just really a lovely time. I will say this festival is more geared towards boutique, hand-dyed and natural fibre yarns, which is not a critique. The selection of yarn is stunning, but just something to be aware of. There is still a possibility of a bargain. A lot of stalls will have sale bins, and there were a couple of cone yarn stalls this year, which was really cool to see, but they are in the minority. As a contrast, the entrance is really reasonable. An advance ticket cost £13. The first thing that I noted was it is a packed event. I had a 10:30 slot on Friday the 13th and it was already packed. The halls were all full. It was quite hard to move around the spaces freely. So if you're not keen on navigating busy spaces, then I would definitely advise heading over in the afternoon, especially if you're not under pressure to get a certain type of yarn early on. Being in one of the morning slots did mean we were shuffling around quite slowly, but it did not hinder my enjoyment of the show at all. There were so many stalls packed into Farnham Maltings. There were so many things to see and do and squish. I had to do multiple rounds of many of the rooms and kept notes and took videos and photographs of things I wanted to come back to, because I just couldn't physically take it in and be in a mental space to make decisions about things early on. Staying grounded and not getting so swept up in the space and the busyness and the excitement is quite tricky. I definitely advise coming with either a shopping list or some rough meterage of what you need in different weights for your size, mostly because the internet at various points of the building drops off. So having to find patterns or quickly map out how much you need of certain yarn may be difficult to do. Not only are there just tons and tons of absolutely gorgeous hand-dyed and luxury fibres, but there are also a wide range of accessories and notion and trinket companies which are just selling some really innovative and cool looking things. If buying a sweater's quantity of luxury yarn is just not in your budget right now, there are so many stalls of buttons and project bags and needles and notions and pins and stickers, so many things to keep you engaged and interested. I didn't spend as much as I thought I would this year. I think that's because I have quite solidly planned my year of knitting, which makes it hard to be flexible. And if a yarn doesn't fit any of the projects that I have in mind for the year, then I found it really hard to justify buying it, even if it was a fibre I absolutely adored. So that may be something I consider with my project planning next year. My friend and I went to see a talk called Unraveling Ravelry by Liz Beltez. I found this talk a tad chaotic, but still wonderfully informative and such good fun. It was amazing to be in a room with such creatively engaged people, like entering the hive mind itself. And I came away with a few new tricks thanks to Liz and the group of people that attended the talk. The talks do fill up fast, and they tend to host them in quite small rooms with not many seats. So if you are looking to go to one of these talks, I would definitely recommend heading a little early, just 5 or 10 minutes, just so you can guarantee yourself a seat. I also find the talks a great way to just take a bit of a break from the shopping aspect of the day. Sometimes I find the stalls quite overwhelming, so taking a break for an hour to sit in a room and listen to someone talk about their passion is just a really nice way to break up the day. So I want to talk through a few stalls that I absolutely loved, but I just didn't have the impetus to buy from right now. I have 3 stalls that I definitely have logged in my brain to come back to. The first off is the Camel's Yarn. I was so close to buying from this stall. All of the colorways are inspired by Cornwall, and they have a range of really interesting bases. The base I was looking at in particular was their linen fingering, which is a 50% alpaca, 25% linen and 25% silk blend. It felt absolutely wonderful and I think would make quite a good spring fabric. The colours were an absolutely gorgeous mix of earthy tones and some muted pinks, blues and greens. And they had each of their colourways dyed on each of their bases lined up next to each other, so you could really see how differently the bases take the colour. The second stall that caught my eye right at the last minute actually was Curated Yarn Co. I stumbled upon this stall right at the end of my visit and it had one of the coolest sale bins. They had a bin full of single skeins and I was quite tempted by a few, but they didn't have the colourways in the sock base I was after. The rest of the stall, however, was a complete pastel paradise. It made me so happy to see a colour palette that I love displayed so vividly in one place. I was so drawn to the colour palette of this dye, I knew I had to log it for a future project. Curated Yarn Co. runs quite a few yarn clubs as well as an annual advent. And I've never done a yarn advent calendar before, and I would be really tempted to do my first one through this company. My third stall that I absolutely loved, that I was so close to buying from, was a stall called Ethel and Joan. This stall was probably my favourite of the day and definitely my favourite notions and accessory stall. They have a range of beautifully bright and colourful buttons and jewellery and stitch markers and even some project bags. And the whole business idea is around minimising waste. So any offcuts from the buttons go into making the jewellery and any offcuts of the jewellery go into making flecks of other buttons. It was really wonderful to hear the stall owner talk so passionately about their business, and this combined with just how vibrant and yummy these buttons looked. I was so close to buying a pack, but it seemed a shame to buy a set of buttons when I don't currently have a project in mind, considering something so beautiful should go on something straight away and not be sat in a cupboard until I have use for it. So I have bookmarked this for a future purchase. Now on to my haul. It's a modest haul this year, but I'm quite excited to show you what I ended up buying. So I bought 2 skeins of yarn from Creative Anarchy. Creative Anarchy is rapidly becoming my favourite hand dyer. I first found this dye at Unraveled last year, and since then I have been lurking on the website looking at all the gorgeous colours that they dye. The range of colours tend to be quite sumptuous and rich, and it is seasonal, so there's a nice turnaround of different tones and colours. I have used their Hessuoid base before, which is their fingering merino nylon, and I've used their comfort base, which is their 100% merino fingering weight. But this time I was really keen to try their bourgeois base, which is 80% merino and 20% silk. And I got 2 skeins in the colour Dancing Queen. This yarn feels so silky and lovely, and I'm really hoping this will make a nice spring summer top. I'm going to be making the Plot Twist Tank by Jamie Creates with this yarn, and I'm really excited to see how this colourway knits up. The other item I bought were some buttons. I have been an absolute sucker for buttons since I found my hand-turned wooden buttons from last Unraveled Festival, so I was really interested to see what the range of them would be this year. I was not disappointed by a still called Buttoned Up. This is a ceramic artist that make the most wonderful ceramic machine washable buttons. There was a whole range of animal, leaf, floral buttons, and even some sweary ones, which I was so close to buying for myself. I wanted so many of them, but I decided to stick with these leaf ones, and I've actually gotten them as a birthday present for a friend. Overall, I had such a wonderful time at Unravelled. It's such an easy journey from London, and with the entrance ticket being so reasonable, I could see it becoming a fixed point in my calendar every year. I have come away with some new favourites this year, as well as visiting some old loves, and I'm so happy with all of the things I decided to purchase. I have come away with so many project ideas, colour combinations, and things I want to try. It can be quite overwhelming at times, but I highly recommend either attending one of the talks or taking a break outside when things are getting very busy. Try not to get swept up by the crowd and take things at your own pace. You don't need a big budget to enjoy this festival, but if you do have a gap in your plans for some luxury yarn, I would come with a figure and a quantity in mind. And make sure you have your measurements on a notes app and not somewhere that you need to rely on the internet. I would highly recommend this event for any crafter who is looking for a lovely day out, and I will definitely be going in the future. Thank you so much for listening to my little roundup about Unravelled. Maybe this will inform your decision to go next year or during their October edition. But for now, I'm going to sign off here, and I will see you in the next one, hopefully. Bye!